We just found out Rachel can sound like Siri.
She is Siri.
Hello. That's my secret talent.
Do you know how do people apply to do stuff like Siri? Like, is
Like
that
the Siri voices?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Is that
Voice
a
acting
job?
is such a huge industry. There's so many people who do voice acting.
He needs to do voice acting for sure.
Yeah.
No, me and Black talk about it all the time. We really actually want to do voice acting.
Voice acting.
I would get into it
Yeah.
super quick. If I could do it tomorrow, I'd literally be there right now.
I want to be the Whopper guy.
I know that lady who does the voicemail joints though. She been getting paid since the 90s, man. I wonder what her
Forever.
The
check is
voice
like
of
now.
the airport voice is the same woman. Like the airport, like, please don't leave your luggage unattended. Like that person who talks at airports is the same woman for all airports, and she's been doing it since like the 70s.
Really?
Yeah.
One person.
Yeah, and just re-records for like updated things like COVID and the masks and
That's
but-
insane.
Like
Yeah.
that
Never would've
and
thought
the
that'd be a
privacy
job.
manager
Yeah.
lady from back in the day when everybody had caller ID blocked or whatever. You have reached privacy manager, a caller ID service. Like, yeah, what are you doing?
No, but when Rachel did it, I was like, oh man, it's on my phone. I had to look at it.
like the little boop boop when
Yeah.
Siri pops up. Yeah.
Yeah,
That's
man.
dope, man.
So how y'all feeling, man? It's Sunday. We back again. Everybody's here this time. Everybody wonder where we were at. You know,
Yeah,
every
good.
time one of us isn't on the podcast,
Oh.
they think one of us got into an argument or something. It's like, no, we're just
Fighting.
busy. We're not
fell
fighting.
out.
People have lives.
I know. Zach, you're back. What's up, man?
Hey, how we doing, man? It's good to be back on this beautiful Sunday.
I know. The people miss you. They wonder where you were at.
Did they?
Is Colleen okay? Don't do that.
Damn, Weez.
Yeah, Krishan would. He missed you too. How's Colleen, man? She good?
Hey, she's on the up and up, hopefully. We all moving forward.
Good.
Yeah, we
good.
got prayers for Miss Colleen.
Take the
Appreciate you.
paraphernalia off the table.
Yeah, please, man. Please get that out of here. Jeremy, what's up, man? How you feeling?
I'm feeling good. Feeling good.
Feeling good. Weez, what up?
I'm good, man. I'm relaxed. Good weekend. I mean, of course, everybody knows I'm relaxed because of the DoorDasher who decided to snap my pic at the most inconvenient time ever. But yeah, that was fun. For you
Yeah.
don't know, I ended up as soon as I opened the door for my DoorDash the other night, this guy snapped the
Oh, yeah.
picture. And when he sent it to my girlfriend, like it was the funniest thing. I
Turn
just,
into a viral photo.
like, got
Like
me at
Bigfoot getting caught in the forest.
my
You
guard.
look
is
like Bigfoot's a picture, too.
yeah, like my guard has never been lower before that moment.
Just
You're like, they're not gone. They're right there. Oh God.
Like I'm glad, like, because I didn't have any sweats on before, like I went down there, and I was like, well, let me just go ahead and grab this just in case somebody's like looking out the window or something. And he's still there. I thought he was gone.
you don't wait for the Dasher to leave?
I thought he was gone.
Like,
I didn't
I
know.
always
Like
wait-
I was already
Yeah, wait till
opening
he
the
leaves,
door. As I'm
man.
opening the
Like,
door
I'm
is
like,
when
leave
she's
it at
like,
my
yeah,
door.
it's no contact. So then I knew they had to snap the pic. As I opened the door, the flash went off. Like there was no. Oh, I'm sorry. Let me get out the way. It was just instantly like, oh. And he caught me, and I'm like, damn. And we both at the same time just,
Awkward.
And he was gonna take the picture again. I'm like, just go, man. I'm like,
Leave a retake.
and she's just in tears when I got back upstairs because they sent it to her phone. It was
Oh, yeah.
on hers. So like when I got
Crying.
that, I'm like, yeah, just send that to me.
Save that
Send it to me
forever.
right now.
Rachel, how's your week been?
It's been good. It's been busy. It's been good, but I feel like my whole life is work, so it's nice. This weekend was no work, and I just kind of chilled, and it's so nice outside, and I love that I went shopping and I got a new dress, and I got
Nice.
really excited to wear my new dress. So you guys are the excuse for me to wear my
There we
new
go.
dress
See
that I
what you
don't
need
often
exclusive.
get excuses to.
exclusive.
You saw
So-
it here first.
What's
Yeah.
a busy week like for you usually?
A busy week for it?
Yeah.
Whoa. So concert weeks are really busy. Our Masterworks concerts, when we have a concert, there's 4 rehearsals and the concert. So I'm at the symphony till like 10 p.m. 4 nights. And then we also have the concert on this Saturdays, and then we're also in on Saturdays. So those are like 80, 90-hour work weeks for me. But there's just performing arts. There's a lot to do and get done. And, we do 7 Masterworks a year. So I have 7 really intense weeks a year pretty much. And then we do 4 pops, and then we have our Divergent concerts, which you guys are easy peasy. You guys know what you're doing. You show up.
Yeah.
It's easy. We love those. They're great. But yeah, no. So we'll have a busy week here. We're doing Mozart's Requiem at the end of March, so
Ooh,
that
man.
involves the full chorus as well. So I get to wrangle
How many
100 chorus
members are in that
members.
chorus?
We got a little over 100 now. It grew like crazy this year. We had like 60 last year. I was a little worried about it, and now we have over 100 because our new chorus director is phenomenal, and he's just done a really good job. So
So how
yeah.
many total shows throughout the year does the symphony do?
Oh gosh, how many shows do we do a year?
Mm-hmm.
We average an event every 4 days, which I preface that so we do we do educational concerts as well.
Okay.
So we do educational full orchestra concerts and chamber concerts, and then we have a series with the park system, and we have a series with the library system that we do 2 times a year.
Mm-hmm.
And then we do like instrument petting zoos and community stuff, and so all of that added together is an event about every 4 days. Sometimes there's like multiple events on one day. But we do 11 major, like full orchestra on Umstadt Hall stage concerts a year. And then we do 5 Divergent at the Oracle a year. So like 16 like major concerts. And then we do 9 educational. I forgot. We have a youth symphony as well. And the youth symphony does.
Oh my goodness.
And the youth symphony does, there's 3 groups and they each do 3 concerts a year. So that's 9 concerts plus. Yeah. So it's a lot.
That's
It's a lot, but it's fun. It's all good stuff.
So you
it's all good
survive on
content.
catnaps and caffeine. pretty much.
Yeah. And I the quote from Kung Fu Panda, the Kung Fu warrior should be able to survive off of the dewdrop of a single ginkgo leaf and the energy of the universe. Sometimes I feel like that's all I've got.
But you love to do it because
Yeah.
it's music, so it's got to be
Yeah.
rewarding to do all those shows and be involved with music.
Yeah. I mean, it's really nice when you're sitting. I mean, we had a concert. Matthew was telling about this
Yeah.
when we had Garrick Olson, and he's one of the best pianists in the entire world. He's 75, and he plays like he breathes. Like it's like he's just breathing when he plays, and it's one of the most incredible things I've ever seen. And I was privileged enough in my job to just sit in rehearsal 4 times and just listen to him fully crying. It was so good. I was just like, this is the best thing
Man.
I've ever heard in my life. Oh my God.
Getting paid to cry.
Yeah, I literally was I was like on my laptop, and I was like, no, we're not on my laptop. We're just focused on this because this is too good. So
Was that one of your favorite concerts so far?
oh gosh, we've had so many good ones and different favorites for different reasons. That one, I feel like it's when you know you're in the presence of greatness, you're like, this is someone who just, it's like if you were in the room with, like Bob Dylan or like a song, like someone who you knew is just like, this person is it. And it was just so, and he was so humble. Like we bought him lunch when he was in town, and he was like, how much do I owe you? And I was like, what are you talking about? Stop, Garrick, no. And he like tried to pay for, I was like, stop it. You're our guest, stop it. And he was just so humble and so nice. And I think that made the music even better because he was just such a good person. And there's so many people who are very talented, and they're like less good people. And they're just like not as fun. They're fine. Like they're just not as fun to work with. They're just like a little demanding and a little, they have writer. Like this man is one of the highest paid pianists in the world and does not have a writer.
Wow. And
He doesn't.
one.
I literally was panicking. I was like, I can't find his writer. I can't find his writer. And I texted his agent. I was like, I'm so sorry, Juliana. I think I lost his writer. She was like, oh, he doesn't have one. And I was like, nope. What?
What's
What?
the craziest writer you ever seen? You don't gotta say the person's name.
We don't get anything. We don't get like only green M&Ms in the bowl. Like that's, we don't
That's
get
what I
that.
thought,
but
yeah.
we do, for vocalists, a lot of times there's a lot of like having a humidifier in the room and making sure there's a certain type of tea and honey, which, they're a vocalist. We want to make sure they're best prepared. So we could do like, it's nothing too crazy,
Right.
but weird snacks. Like Nathan was our director of development, was like hunting. He was at Sam's Club, like, I can't find these snacks. What are these people talking about? Like just digging through, trying to find things. So nothing too crazy, but certain hotel requirements and things like that. We've had to move people to different hotels because they didn't like the hotel that they were in.
Like animal crackers with all the legs cut off.
What's your green room requirements, Jéan?
Yeah, you didn't tell me you needed anything.
I only got a writer one time.
You didn't know he was allowed.
Right, but
You're allowed. You can tell me what you
I
need.
had writer experience when I was in Athens. I won this contest called Battle of the MCs, and they were like, "You can get whatever you want." I asked for like the most obnoxious shit
Of course
to see
you
if they
did.
could do it. it. I was like chicken wings, Swedish fish, and
That's not obnoxious. That's easy.
yeah, Swedish fish is delicious. Chicken wings.
Too many Swedish fish, though.
Yeah, I ain't had too
Disaster.
many. Yeah,
Disaster.
chicken wings, Swedish fish, and water.
turn you Swedish.
And it was sitting right there.
You need to get my guy a stacker too. My guy was falling asleep in the back of the
At rehearsal?
asleep in the rehearsal. What are you doing?
Oh man, I had a busy week. I didn't realize how busy the week was until
Well,
I did
it's
the
so
symphony.
much too.
Yeah, it's a
I mean, your
lot.
body is taking on like stress, and it's all in your body just needs some place to do with it.
Cause I was nervous.
So-
I ain't gonna lie to you.
Yeah, but it's still you sleep wherever because like
Yeah,
the fact that I have to
Did you
tell
just
him as a
come?
grown man. Yeah, no, legit. As a grown man, he'll tell me something and I'll be like, yeah. I was gonna do this and this. I just fell asleep, and I'm like, "Why are you sleeping so much? Like,
Well, he's walking a lot.
what's going on?"
You got a lot of
I
walking.
I lift. I do all that stuff too, and I'm up till
Jerry
2 a.m.
Same.
I'm up till 2 a.m. My guy, my guy, he will literally fall asleep doing whatever, food cooking. Oh man, I just kind of nodded off.
But
man.
some people
During
don't know I
cooking?
work 2 gigs. Not during cooking. No, I'm
fire
awake.
hazard.
That's I'm
That's
prepared to
dangerous.
fall asleep walk like he's narcoleptic or something. I don't know.
No, I work 2 gigs though, so doing
Yeah.
that walking and then having to perform. 'cause
Yeah.
that's why I wore my Crocs on the stage at
It
the
was
symphony
perfect.
show.
You wear
'Cause I
your
was
Crocs.
like,
That's your best self.
I know, but I wanted to wear my New Balances. Look the outfit, but I was like, man,
That would explain why everything is like filmed from the waist up.
yeah,
Pat was like, "I gotta get the
Like,
Crocs,"
he
and you're
can
like,
be comfortable,
"Absolutely."
but I'm not gonna show that.
yeah. I don't want them to see my comfort. I don't want them to see my comfort. So yeah, my rider ain't crazy. So
It sounded like it was a good performance. So I wanted to be there. I just had a few things going on and everything.
That
But
was
was-
great. Oh my
Thank you.
gosh.
Thank you, and I can thank you
So
personally. Thank you
fun.
for the opportunity.
It
I
was
really
so
appreciate
fun.
that.
Well,
That
TK
was fun.
Payton is the one. Like TK was like
Yeah.
Rachel, and I was like, okay, so it
Shout out TK.
TK.
thank you, TK.
Who she's been on our board for a while now. She's not going to be on our board anymore, obviously, since she doesn't live here. And I'm so sad because she was
Me
such a
too.
good board member. But it was such a good performance, and I think our musicians had a great time. Nancy was living.
Shout out
Nancy was
Nancy and
having
the
the
harp.
best time. Nancy is the Canton Symphony harpist. She's been with us for almost 50 years.
Wow.
Yeah, our former music director Gerhardt, who passed away last June, she was the only person who had been at the orchestra longer than Gerhardt, and she was having a great time. She loved you, and she was having such a fun time.
That was different because when I went into the show, I'm thinking because they're classically trained that they're going to teach me. It was more of me showing them how to do it.
It's so different.
It
Nancy was like,
way
"I am
different.
not in my ballpark. You got to show me." She's like, "You just."
Hey,
she looked
said
at you and said,
she said it too.
"She was like, I need you to just tell me when you need me. You just tell me when to come in."
Because at rap shows, the DJs they run it back, they do the air horn. So not say
it
we
would
just
be
put
cool
the
if
song,
she would like emulate that on the harp though.
but she was trying to figure out where to start.
I
So
got
we was like big. She was like,
well,
"What do I do?"
I was sitting in the back. The musicians, there was one piece where like, what is happening? No one's coming in at the right time.
Right.
And what it was is there was an extra 2-beat. There was a 2-beat pickup that just wasn't reflected in their music, and they were being very well trained classical musicians and starting, here's beat 1, we're going. And I looked at them. I was like, "Hey guys, I'm pretty sure there's a 2-beat pickup," and that fixed everything. I just was listening in the back, and I was like, "There's a beat. There's a pickup." But
No, you-
yeah,
the
You guys
Nancy.
didn't rehearse until like the day before.
Day before.
or
Before the
something.
day
That's
of.
crazy that it can still sound as good as it does.
well, that's I mean, so we're a unioned orchestra, so union. When you're in a union, that you're very specific with time and how much you
Right.
rehearse and when you can rehearse,
Right.
and it's also expensive. The more and so we. For our Masterworks concerts, we rehearse like the 4 days before, and then we do it. For Pops shows, we do one rehearsal and then the performance.
That's crazy.
So this is just nothing to you guys. We do this every day.
It's kind of the roteness of the job. And I think Divergent, I don't think Nancy had ever done a Divergent before.
Never.
I don't think anyone had wanted harp before, which more people should want harp. And now we know how to mic it. Me and Marty in the back, we're trying to figure out how to mic the harp and we finally figured it. There's 3 mics on the harp. That's because it's so resonant and has so much, it's like a giant piano, just,
At least 50 years.
yeah.
And she's been doing it.
Yeah.
And shout out to Jory, and shout out to
Jory.
Kevin, and shout out to Tatum as well. The
Yeah.
cello, the harp,
Trumpet.
trumpet, and
Violin.
violin.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, they were all great. Kevin, our trumpet player, he's done several Divergents. He's like, I know what I'm doing. He's got it.
Yeah, he
He's on
was.
it. Kevin's on it.
Now, before he did it, like he told me about him doing it. Like, I was unfamiliar with the whole Divergent Series thing. So, like, is this something you only do once a year, or do you do multiple a year?
So we do 5 concerts a year. This is our first year we've been at the Oracle. So we moved it to the Oracle. One, because we used to do it in Foundation Hall at the Symphony Center, and that was great and it was fun, except that Foundation Hall is just like a reception hall, right? It is not there is no stage, there is no lighting, there is no sound. So we had to bring all that stuff in, which was really expensive and a lot to set up and a lot to do. And when we average an event every 4 days, I'm like, how can we take a little bit of burden off the staff? Because all the stuff, we had to do all the setup. Like, we setting up the chairs, we set up the bar, because we have a bar at the Symphony and like, all this stuff. So we moved it to the Oracle, and partnering with Josh has just been so great. And it's easy. We just show up now, and it's so nice, and it's so good. So easy. But yeah, we do 5 a year, and our goal is that it's as genre diverse as possible. So we started this season with JT's Electric Blackout. JT, who we've had on the series before.
Yeah.
It'd been a minute since we'd had him, and he does like jazz, fusion, whatever his. It's hard to kind of define his stuff. And then we did Anya Van Rose in January, Anya, and then obviously Jéan P. In April, we'll have a band called Alabora, which they do modern reinterpretations of Italian folk music.
Wow.
So very different. They're very cool. It's very fun. It's very different. And then Big Pop out of Akron, and they're like a pop rock band, kind of queer focused band, which is really cool. So they're in May, and so now we're now planning next season, and I have a very long list of bands who have like asked to play on the series, which is a really big honor that people want to be a part of it. And so I have a very long list of people who have requested. So, but our goal is always like, we want to have it be as diverse as possible. And so we try not to double dip on genres every year. But Josh is so determined to have a metal band next year. And so I was like, okay, Josh, I'm like, if we find the right metal band, I'm all for it. Metal with orchestra is going to be cool. Like, it's going to be cool.
That would go crazy.
But
Nancy would be like, I can't do it. It'd be too loud.
We would need to get Nancy headphones.
Oh, yeah, Nancy needs some headphones.
And we'd have to figure out a metal. How do we tame down just the loudness of the metal so that you can make it work with acoustic? Yeah, that's the thing. You have to have the right band who's like, yeah, we're going to figure this out.
Well, modern interpretations of Italian folk music definitely sounds as diverse as it comes.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah, and that's the thing. And they
it's a mouthful to even say.
And what's so cool about that band is their lead singer, Amanda Powell, is our soprano soloist for Mozart's Requiem. So she does both stuff. Like, so she's going to be on our Divergent series and on our Masterwork series, which is really cool. We've never had a Divergent artist also like do the classical world stuff. So
She said, I'm putting numbers up.
So she's just talented, yeah.
She's really cool. And she's really cool. She's done a lot of really cool stuff, and she's a great singer. Like, her voice is amazing. So, and she's
That's
local. She's
great.
a Clevelander. So
You said this is Amanda Powell?
Amanda Powell.
Amanda Powell, man. Look out for her.
Shout out to Amanda Powell. I also want to give a couple shout outs to Joe Lewis, Pat Folke, my man Jordan, people who documented the Canton Symphony, Kelly.
Yeah, Kelly's photos we'll have on Monday. So
Shout
excited.
out to Kelly. I appreciate everyone.
Yeah, I definitely got to say, Jordan and Joe, man, y'all take some crazy shots,
They
man.
do.
Like, y'all always make me look crazy good. So, Joe, if you listening, man, I appreciate the shit you do, brother.
And Pat came from Washington, D.C., but he lived in Jackson, Wyoming for a while.
Whoa.
I haven't seen Pat since I was 21.
Whoa.
So we knew each other from Athens.
My guy had hair.
Yeah. Shut up.
Hairline still intact.
I had hair. And I remember Pat, man, like he saw my son when he was born and documented my journey. So for him to go from seeing me at the Union to the Symphony, it was mind-blowing for him. So I appreciate everyone that was involved, everyone that was in attendance. Rachel, thank you for the opportunity.
Yeah.
So this is your episode, so people are going to get to know who you are.
Lord.
So real quick before we go on break, where can they follow you?
Follow me.
Yes.
I'm not huge personally on social media. I do have Facebook. Mostly, like my Instagram is the Hagemeister.
I like that.
It is private, but if I know you, I'll follow you back. But mostly because we have a youth symphony, and the kids like to try to really get in there. But you can follow the Canton Symphony, and you'll see a lot of the really cool stuff that I'm doing. So Canton Symphony on all platforms, just at Canton Symphony. So Facebook, Instagram, all that good stuff.
Okay, Jeremy, where can they follow you at?
You can just follow me on Facebook at Jeremy Andrew or look me up on Instagram at _Jinja_Ninja_1.
I like it.
Krishan, where follow you at?
Just Facebook, Krishan White. Instagram, Krishan_White.
All right, Michael Zach.
You can find my Instagram and Twitter at zworthy68 or on Facebook, Zach Worthy.
You can find me Twitter, Instagram, Snapchat, TikTok at Jéan P The MC, www.jeanpthemc.com.
Take my picture down.
Yeah, you might see my profile picture of Krishan in that legendary
Take my shit down.
DoorDash photo. Follow
Yes.
Say What You Mean, SWYM podcast on Instagram as well. So, Rach, you gonna stick around with us for a minute?
Yeah.
All right, man. This is Jéan P The MC.
Sweet.
Jeremy in the house. Michael and Zach. We'll be right back, y'all. Say What You Mean. Peace. Yo, episode 134, Say What You Mean podcast. Jéan P The MC, C-Weez, Jeremy, Michael, and Zach. We got Miss Rachel. How do you say your last name?
Hagemeier.
Hagemeier.
Incredibly German.
Okay. All right. We have Rachel Hagemeier in the house. How you feeling today?
I'm good. I'm feeling good.
Thank you for coming on the show.
She said heavy on the German.
Heavy on the German.
Heavy.
Heavy on the German. Yeah, man. Episode 134. Say What You Mean podcast, man. It's just glad that everybody's back. Everybody's back together. It's been a great week for me, man. I want to shout out to Matt Fantone as well. I was on his radio show on Wednesday. Shout out to Matt Fantone and shout out to the Canton Symphony. It's been fun, man. I just been in a really good spirit this week, man.
The vibes have been good.
They
It's been a
have.
very good week.
Vibes are glorious.
Yes, glorious. Shout out to Jordan. Yeah, that's his quote.
The week felt
Glorious.
long as hell for me, but it wasn't bad.
No?
Yeah, no, it was just long, for real.
It's going to be warmer this week, too.
Trey, no, I'm glad. I hope it's warm. It's nice out today. Just glad it's not freezing up here this time. You'd
It's
have hated
normally
it.
cold up here, yeah.
It usually is. And
Yeah,
Rachel has a dress on. She wants
I was
to
gonna
be.
say that would've been-
That's what I'm saying. It would be too
It's
cold.
so nice outside. I was like, I need to wear a spring happy
Right.
dress. I need to be.
I'm ready to enjoy this weather, man.
Yeah.
I'm so excited. So,
Yeah, I might act up a little bit.
right? I don't know what it is about warm weather that makes us want to be outside.
Makes you want to do hood rat shit.
Do it right.
Pheromones.
Yeah. So you know what time it is?
I guess it's sponsor time.
It is sponsor time, and the first sponsor is the place that we are in, the Hub Art Factory. Shout out to Tim Carmody.
Thank you, Tim.
Rachel, what do you think of the space?
I love this space. I love Tim. Tim's awesome.
Shout out to Tim.
Yeah, the hub is awesome. I've loved coming here for my entire time living in Canton. So this space rocks.
Shout out to the Hub. And I also want to shout out to Latrice Snodgrass of Equity House, who was on the front page of the paper.
Shout out, Doc.
Yes, the same day I was featured in there for the show. Dr. Latrice was on the front page.
A lot of black accents.
Yes, that's right. So shout out to Latrice Snodgrass at Equity House and Aaron Dukes at Pristine Steam Wash. And also, if you want to grab your CDs and merchandise for Jéan P The MC, www.jeanpthemc.com. Please like, rate, and comment on our podcast. Wherever you're listening to, give us a rate.
Or just ask him for the CD because he'll just give it to you.
You got to buy it.
Don't say that.
Yeah, we're independent, independent artists. I need that. So,
It's all good.
yeah. Rachel, tell us where you're from. Let's start from the beginning.
Oh Lord. Okay, so gosh, how far back are we going?
Where were you born?
Kansas, Wichita, Kansas.
Really?
Yeah.
My uncle
So I
lived
was,
in
yeah,
Kansas.
born in Wichita, Kansas.
Kansas
And then my family moved to Oklahoma City, Oklahoma when I was 6, and I grew up there. So I'm from Oklahoma originally. I say that's just because most of my formative years are there. I moved to Cleveland for school, so I went to Baldwin Wallace University.
Okay.
So I have a degree in bassoon performance and a degree in arts administration. And you put those together and then you do symphony work. So I moved to Canton. I got a job with the Canton Symphony in 2019 as the manager of education and community engagement.
Nice.
So I did all of our educational programs, all of our, stuff with the community, creating partnerships, getting to know people like Josh the Oracle and stuff like that. So I started in 2019 doing that right out of I was right out of college. I was 21. No business being there, but it was so much fun. And then in October of 2022, I got promoted to be the president and CEO here at the Canton Symphony. So thanks. Yeah. Also, no business. No. Yeah, I was 25 at the time I started, which, has its own fun little issues to deal with when you're that young running stuff. But no, it's been great. So I've been in Canton. I live here. I live in Harder Heights. I've been here since 2019. It's cool. I feel a lot of similarities with Oklahoma, mostly because of the immense amount of football.
Oh yeah, for sure. You came to the right place.
Here.
You came to the capital.
Yeah, I did. I really did. But no, I'm very close with my family, even though we're all spread out. My sister's over in DC and my parents are still in Oklahoma, and family all over, but love music. I grew up in the bluegrass music tradition, which, if you don't know, are any of you bluegrass people? Do we have any?
I was going to ask you about the bassoon too. So
yeah,
go ahead and
yeah.
Ask her about the what?
The bassoon. The bassoon.
Bassoon. Hey, just how I don't know how to play it or say it.
Hey, it's a weird one.
Making a fish out of it.
A
bassoon.
Yeah. So I don't know. What else do you want to know?
Tell us about the bassoon.
Yeah, well, hey, you can say bassoon. It's not technically
Tell us
wrong.
about the bassoon. Do you come from a musical family? Do you have other family members that play instruments?
Yeah, so I mentioned bluegrass. So I grew up in a kind of bluegrass household. My dad played trumpet. I mentioned, I know you did.
Hey,
Trumpet boys.
My dad played trumpet, and he started school as a music major, and then was like, I don't know what to do with a music major, so he switched to geology, and he started working in oil and gas during the 80s, during the oil and gas boom. So it was probably a good move on his part.
True.
But so he's in a bluegrass band. So I grew up going to music festivals, so hippy dippy music festivals where I'm like a 6-year-old that's up at 2 a.m. and should not be, but I grew up going to a music festival called Walnut Valley Bluegrass Festival in Winfield, Kansas. So back in Kansas where I was born. And when I was 10 years old, I was up far too late. And at music festivals, especially bluegrass festivals, there's a lot of music that happens in the campgrounds. So a lot of people like around campfires just playing music together and just jamming and like making music and just, having a good time. And so I was hanging out around a campfire. My dad was there. But there was a woman who came over with a bassoon at a bluegrass festival. And I was like, what is happening here? This is the craziest thing I've ever seen in my life. And so she started jamming around a campfire with everyone. And I'd never seen a bassoon before because you don't often see bassoons just walking around in public. They're weird or hear about them. And they, it's a very formative memory. I got it tattooed on me. It was they played the song Falling Slowly, which is from the musical Once. And I just like stuck in my head. And I was like, that's me for the rest of my life now. And so I looked at my dad and said, I'm going to play bassoon. And he said, what? Sure. Okay. So then middle school band, you start playing bassoon, and I showed up at the music festival the next year, and I was like, look, I have one. And so I played a lot of bassoon at bluegrass festivals, like jamming around a campfire, which was a fun way to learn. I learned later, I'm like, oh, it's a classical instrument. That's fun. I'd never done much classical music. I played piano. I did piano when I was a little kid, so started going to the symphony, learning more about the orchestra, and so I love the bassoon, and I don't play as much as I used to just because I love to play, and I got a performance degree, but I did that because I just wanted to be a good musician, not because I wanted to be a performer. That was not ever my goal. That's a really hard life. Yeah. It's really hard to be a gigging musician. It is really difficult. And I wanted to be part of the background making it happen. So I wanted to do the admin work. I wanted to be a part of the creation, making sure that this art can live and sustain. And so my dad still plays bluegrass music, and I love to sing, and I play guitar and piano. And I don't know. Music is something that I wanted it to be a love of mine and not an occupation. And I think I found a good balance there.
Right.
Because I know a lot of musicians who started doing it as a job, and it's really interesting. There's a lot of about this in the orchestral field, really, and then it becomes a job, and the passion.
You don't really love it no more
because it gets really hard, and it's the burden for you, and so I never wanted that. And there's lots of musicians who they balance that really well, but it's tough. But no, I love music. I love what I get to do most days.
That's kind of how it was for me, because now my grandpa and my dad both, every time I see him, they're like, why don't you have your trumpet no more? And I tell them like, oh, I just kind of fell out of it after high school.
Yeah, it's hard to keep it going.
Yeah, I stayed in the whole thing. Like me, my older sister, and my younger sister, we all played. Both of my sisters played clarinet, and I played trumpet. And I'm the only one that stuck with it through like 5th grade all the way to like graduating. And I did the marching band thing, concert band, all of that. So it was like after I was done, it was like, okay, I don't have to do this anymore. I don't have to sacrifice my summers to go to marching band practice all day. This and the third. So I just kind of like fell out with it. But I do every now and again wish like, yeah, it'd be cool to like, if I would have kept up with it, I would have still played around with it here and there. And I kind of regret giving it, like selling it back to them and everything. But if I don't know, if I ever had time, I do want to like pick up an instrument at some point, just dabble with it.
Yeah. Is there a type of music that you really liked to play, or was it?
For me, I just enjoyed knowing how to play an instrument.
Yeah.
Like I can't really give you like a song that we played that I was like, yeah, I'm so glad we got to do that. Like for me, it was just like, to be honest, when the guy who ended up being my music teacher, he was Corey. I know his first name was Corey. I can't remember his last name to save my life, but he. When he came to talk to everybody in 5th grade about band, he was like, guys, you get a lot of girlfriends in band. And that's all I heard. Like everything went
Hey,
silent after that.
There is an incestuous nature of the band program. Everyone dates each other.
You're not
no
wrong.
business.
It's
Really?
It's like, no,
It's bad. Those band kids.
I remember hearing about that.
No,
Yeah.
legit.
What about the orchestra kids?
Eh,
No,
they're fine.
Jordan was like, no, bro, no way.
But no, like she's right though.
Yeah,
Like,
it's weird.
It wasn't with me though. It was like everybody was going. It was like if you're looking at a bunch of planes and stuff from like air traffic control, everything was
Everyone's-
going over me. So until like my senior year, but then I was kind of like in the cut. You know what I mean? I wasn't like really like doing anything to stand out until like my senior year. I won military ball king my senior year, so like that was cool.
Yeah.
But yeah, once I didn't need to do it anymore, it was just like this kind of felt like a job all summer, so I just stopped.
Yeah.
So I understand what you mean there.
Yeah, it's tough.
I got a question about the orchestra. What are some things about the orchestra that people may know or people don't know?
Yeah.
Because it was a lot of people's first time in my
Yeah.
show. Like, is it normal for people to like be quiet after the people perform? Like, do they cheer?
Oh,
I know
gosh.
there's a lot of etiquette.
Oh my
with
gosh.
orchestra.
Yeah. Well, okay. So just to preface all of this, what the American orchestra is, like symphony orchestra, classical music, it's an art form that came out of Europe, right? It's a European art form really originating around like 1650 is really when we see our first kind of orchestra form. The first time we see like the romantic big orchestra that we see on our stages today and that play like movie scores and stuff, that's like 1800s, you know, so still a long time ago. We're one of the few art forms that something new is 100 years old. New music, it's from 1920. Well, it's 100 years ago, friends. I don't know if that's new. But so we took this art form that was, it was meant for the elite class, right? So it was sponsored by kings and courts and people with a lot of wealth had musicians, you know. It wasn't until like this late 1700s, 1800s that it became for the masses and that more than just the elite could attend. And in the European art form of orchestra that we see nowadays, it's very, very heavily government funded. So there's like 50% government funding into these institutions, but it's rooted in very like Eurocentric white aristocracy vibes, and then we took that. We're like, we'll just do that in America, and it'll work just fine. And it's like, okay, let's think about this for a second. It worked fine for a bit, right? But America is not Europe, and Europe is not Europe like it used to be anymore. I think, you know, orchestras, you know, the things that people think about with orchestras is, you know, you play a piece, and you wait till it's over, and then you clap. Yay. Clap, 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 clap. Silent. Next one. And there's things called symphonies, right? Symphonies have multiple movements. And so movement 1, there's a pause. No one clap. It's not over yet. There's 4 movements. We can't clap till the end. Silence. And you know, there's still a little bit of that in there. You know, sometimes the symphony, it's like, it's better if you don't clap till the end. Just like let the space be. But I think we need to do a better job as as people in orchestra professions saying from stage, hey guys, there's going to be 4 movements. There's going to be pauses. Just wait till the end. It'll all be together and then you'll clap and it'll be awesome. But there is some formality to it. I don't think that's bad, but I do think that, you know, a lot of people don't realize that, you know, especially for the Canton Symphony, we're not a community orchestra. And what I mean by that is all of our musicians are paid professionals. They are unioned musicians.
Yeah,
you know, they're professional. They do this for a living. But we're not a full-time orchestra, so they play all over the place. Our musicians play in Akron and West Virginia and Pennsylvania, and they go all over playing. And so kind of a big battle of the American orchestra right now is how do we become more relevant? Because we're playing music by old dead white guys. Some of which is really good. Beethoven rocks. Beethoven was great.
Yeah, like, Beethoven got some bangers.
Beethoven has some bangers. Vivaldi has some bangers. Like all of this music.
I do like Vivaldi.
Vivaldi rocks. I'm a bassoonist, and he wrote a lot of bassoon
Yeah, who are
concertos.
some of your favorite composers?
Oh my gosh. Yeah. So okay. Yeah. So we've got some of my favorite pieces. There's a piece called Poem of Ecstasy by Scriabin. And it's a piece. Well, it's crazy. It's a crazy piece. It's like 20 minutes long, and it's you know, the name is actually in French, but we translate it to English as Poem of Ecstasy. Some could take that, you know, in a very kind of evocative way, and I kind of like the whole piece does not ever, you know, in music we've got like chord progressions, and we've got here's the tonic, the first of a like do re mi, like the do, like this is our home base. And usually, like, there's phrases, and we get back to home base, and that's how we felt the phrase. Like, in music, we get and that's called resolving, right? We've resolved that phrase. This piece does not resolve until the very end of the piece. So you feel like it hasn't ended. Like it's like, why is it's just yet. Building and building. You're like, what is happening? It's the craziest thing I've ever listened to in my life.
20-minute song.
It's 20 minutes.
You don't even know it.
It's like the Metallica of their age.
Yeah, well, and I mean, like, and then we get into things like Mahler's second, like Mahler, not second, Mahler 7. Oh gosh, people in the classical music community are going to be mad at me that I don't know which one. But there's a Mahler symphony that's over an hour long.
Oh wow!
It's over an hour, right? It's straight
like one song,
one piece.
Oh man!
And so when we're talking in the American orchestra, like the attention span of our normal human on Earth right now is not an hour.
It's TikTok.
It's 7 seconds, and so a lot of our work is how do we, because it is a really valid art form, and there's some really beautiful, amazing moments that come from sitting in a piece of music for an hour.
He's experiencing that sound.
It's a different experience to be a part of, but it's hard for an audience to do that.
But imagine who has to play it.
And the musicians.
Sitting to play that for an hour, and you have to be on point.
Trying to play a trumpet for an hour, any instrument, for an hour.
That's why the training in the building is. But so a lot of what I'm thinking about in my job is how do we honor this art form and protect it, because it's a really great, very valid art form that I think more people would really enjoy, and I think would really help society if we're able to, like, how do we just sit in it for a little bit? How do we let ourselves be calm and grounded and really present in this music making experience for 2 hours and just be there? We do it for movies, right? We sit through 2.5 hour movies. What's different? I know there's no words, right? And that's really hard for a lot of people. But how do then we also make it relevant? And a lot of that is diversifying who we're playing, right? So I mentioned old dead white guys. So at the symphony, we have a policy that we have to play, every single concert has to have a piece by a composer of color or a woman on it. Because the canon, the big greats have been the same for 200, 300 years. And it's time to make the canon better and different. And not better. We need to expand the table and make sure there's more seats at the table and there's more voices at the table. And so that's a big part of it too. But then also creating content that is easier for people to digest than just the two. So Divergent Sounds is a really awesome way for us to reach out to other genres of music and bring them into the symphony, really like a really fun, cool way that's very meaningful and very high level artistically. But it's so much, like so many of the people in the crowd had maybe never heard a harp live before, and now I got to witness Nancy at the, so how do we do that? We do pop series. Like we have a concert next Saturday with the music of Fleetwood Mac with full orchestra. We do different stuff like that. We do work with a lot of local bands. So some of our Divergent people that have we've gone on, like we did a concert with the Vindies, which was full orchestra. We did the Labra Brothers, which was full. Then we did that for Dia de los Muertos, and we had like an altar for like a community altar up front for that Mexican holiday. It was so fun. So there's a lot of things. I'm not sure if I answered your question, and I've rambled for a very long time. There's so much I have to say on this topic. It's literally my whole. It's literally my whole job, because I mean, if we don't make ourselves relevant or show our communities why they need to be caring about this type of art, then we're not going to exist in 20 years.
And Bach has 8 million listeners on Spotify,
Bach,
so he's doing numbers.
Numbers, scoreboard.
Numbers.
Bach did not realize that he was as big a deal as he was.
Yeah, man. And you know, kids nowadays, they be like, how many numbers does he have? I'm like,
8 million.
3 million.
Didn't even hear it coming.
Didn't even hear it coming.
Yeah. But yeah, if we want some more recommendations of composers, that to listen to that are really fun. Rimsky-Korsakov is a Russian composer. He wrote Scheherazade, which is comes from 1001 Arabian Nights, where Aladdin comes from as well. So it's a musical storytelling of the story of Scheherazade, who was the woman who told the 1001 stories. So her story was that the Sultan would marry a woman and then get bored and kill her immediately, right? Because he was a terrible person. And she got married to the Sultan. She got forced to marry him, and she was like, okay, I'm gonna be smart about this. I'm gonna tell him a story and then not tell him how it ends. And so he won't be able to kill me. And then I'll tell him another story, and I won't tell him how it ends. And she did that for 1001 Nights, and that's where all those 1001 Arabian Nights stories come from. And then at the end, he falls in love with her and doesn't want to kill her, and whatever. But
I know that.
yeah, so like that's where the Aladdin story comes from and all that. So that's a really cool piece of music, and that's one. It's like 45 minutes long. It locks you in. Rimsky-Korsakov was a brilliant orchestrator. Just you were locked in the whole time. It's crazy.
You were talking about Aladdin, and I think we were going over our notes. Jeremy, you were going to ask about.
I was just going to ask, like, have you been like to any like big orchestras, like there's one I've seen that I've always wanted to do was when they play like Harry Potter and they got the live orchestra there. Have you ever been like part of that or seen anything?
So I want to do it it's very expensive to do
Harry
that
Potter.
to get the rights to the movie.
They do it with all.
So
the movies.
minimum, like a cheap movie, not Harry Potter, is like $35,000 just for the rights.
How much
of the
do you think
movie.
Harry Potter would be?
That's like 70 plus.
Oh, so imagine it's like Star Wars.
Yeah.
Movies.
So
that
I want to do
orchestras.
one. I just need someone to pay for it.
Okay, so if
Shout out
Canton Symphony
Hall of Fame Village.
Come on, cut the check. So if Canton Symphony wanted to do, like, for example, Star Wars, it would cost you.
So to rent the rights to play the movie Star Wars. So the rights to have it for one performance. So to have the rights to the music, to have the rights to the video that's going to be playing, like a lot. We're talking lots and lots of money. So, and then the more performance you do, the more it stacks up. But so the Cleveland Orchestra, they got more money than I do. They have an endowment of $88 million.
$8 million.
Well, no, 88. 88.
Shit, I'm sorry.
That's their budget. So their budget. So they have an $88 million budget.
So they can do it the hell they want.
Yeah.
But they have that budget because all their musicians are salaried. So they have 76 people who have full-time job salaries that are musicians, right?
Non-stop shows.
Yeah, and they're playing every single week. But they've been doing the Lord of the Rings every summer. Ooh. So this summer in 2024 is Alec, what's the third one? Return of the King. Return of the King. Shout out Alec helping me out. So they did the first two. Gosh, I'm not going to remember. The Two Towers is the second one.
Fellowship of
the Ring is the first one. Thank you. So they did those 2022 and 2023, and this summer they're going to do Return of the King. It's so powerful. I mean, last summer we were at Two Towers, and there's that part at the end where Sam goes, Frodo, like the part where he's like, you've got to believe there's good in the world, Frodo, and he like does this whole thing, and the whole crowd was just like losing their minds as the music is playing underneath it, and then there's like the cry, and everyone, like someone yelled from like the back of like, we're on the Blossom lawn, so if you've ever gone to Blossom to see a performance with the Cleveland Orchestra, they're playing inside the actual structure, but you can sit up on the lawn and they have the screens out on the lawn. So we sit up on the lawn, and someone from the very back just yelled, "See you all next year!" And it was like this beautiful moment. Everyone was like, it was just like a warm hug of humanity, like this gorgeous music. Because Lord of the Rings soundtrack is next level.
Yeah,
like
that's my dad's
that
favorite
is
movie.
orchestral, and you could listen to that without the movie, and it would be like.
Have you ever seen Lord of the Rings, Sean?
Have I?
Yeah, you going through that trilogy?
I seen it with my dad. He had he used to have them on VHS, and my dad is a real big like spiritual guy. So when he watched the movie, he took bits and pieces from
Well,
it.
Tolkien was a big
Yeah, that was his one.
Catholic.
Like he broke all that down. So I want to ask you this question before we go to break. I know Jeremy tapped in on it, but is there any orchestra you would like to see personally, other than?
Oh, like do the movie live or
Yeah.
So I mean, I've wanted to do a lot. So I have a lot of ideas of things I'd like to do. We've thought about doing like a holiday one, like going back to like the original old How the Grinch Stole Christmas
That'd be hard.
live. So with Boris Gorloff, the really deep voice guy who did the narration. But I personally would like to do How to Train Your Dragon. That soundtrack.
That
is
movie surprised me, man.
so good.
That is a great movie.
I never paid attention to the music.
I
in
really
that
thought
movie.
like that
Okay.
was going to be like, I'm an
Look
animated.
up on. Sorry, I
Oh,
cut you
no,
off.
go ahead. No, you're good.
Look up on TikTok, Instagram, whatever. Just like How to Train Your Dragon. Oh gosh, what people? It's this beautiful, like swelling, like the French horns go nuts. It's this beautiful, and people use it as a clip whenever someone sees something grand. Like there was like trend on TikTok with people like driving through tunnels and then seeing like a beautiful scenery and playing the How to Train Your Dragon theme underneath it. It's the greatest. Oh, it's
How to Train
so
Your Dragon.
Yeah, I'd love to do that. I mean, there's so many things that I'd love to do. It's just a lot of it comes down to money, like everything in life.
If I
So
ever had the chance, because I'm a game nut. The Sonic Symphony and the Final Fantasy Orchestra.
the Final Fantasy Orchestra, yeah. So the video game stuff too would be
Yeah.
really fun. There was
I would definitely. I would pay whatever if I had it to go see the Final
I'll try
Fantasy
to get
Orchestra.
fantasy.
Ooh,
That'd
what
be
about
dope.
you, Tilly? Any orchestra ideas?
I mean, Tarzan soundtrack, but done by an orchestra.
Oh,
Would be
Phil
sick.
Collins went off.
Phil Collins
Jeremy
went so
here
hard for no
pioneered.
reason.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
video game orchestra. Like I don't know what
Sonic
it is.
and
Like,
Mario
video
one would be
games
hard.
go
That'd be
crazy.
great.
Like
Like
some of their
Kingdom Hearts
soundtracks
one?
go crazy.
What's the
Kingdom Hearts?
the James
And,
Bond one? Is the 007 one?
Yeah, they had one to go like for GoldenEye. I think they did that.
GoldenEye,
And but like the people like they went and got an orchestra to do the entire Bloodborne soundtrack, and that shit sounds crazy. Man,
Yeah, well,
insane.
yeah, video game soundtracks and movie soundtracks, the people who write those, I mean, that's so much content and that's full orchestra. It's orchestral, full
Right.
orchestra stuff. And I think whenever I'm talking to kids, I do a lot of, even though I'm not manager of education anymore, I still like to do talks with kids and work with, and so a lot of them, I'll ask the kids, have you ever heard an orchestra play? And some of them will be like, no, I haven't. I'm like, have you ever watched a movie? Yes, you have. Like, I think so
Right.
many people just don't realize, have you ever played a video game? Like, it's a ton.
Hans Zimmer on that.
Yeah, I was
about to say
soundtrack
Hans
is
Zimmer, yeah.
crazy.
yeah, if you get Hans Zimmer, well, that's, yeah,
Nah, that's a big budget.
That's a big
he
budget.
might be $88 million.
he's a lot. No, yeah, he's doing well for himself. No, it's such a beautiful, because when you can get that many people doing, like, you can get so many colors and so much texture and just so much depth to sound, and it's why you can get these really powerful, crazy moments.
With anything, like from video games to movies to, again, even my show. I just
Yeah.
love that hip hop that's just something I never thought would combine together.
Yeah.
That was beautiful, man.
It was super fun. Yeah. We love doing that.
So what are some of the hardest parts about blending like any genre with an orchestra?
Yeah. Oh yeah, it definitely it depends. So I'll say, like the special challenge with your show was the harp, miking the harp, because the harp was it's so resonant, and it has
Yeah.
very, very, because the harp is basically, you take the strings of a piano and you put it upright and you can
And so
play it
heavy.
and there's very, very high notes and very, very low notes. And so a microphone's going to freak out trying to get all those frequencies. So we had to have like 3 mics on it. It was crazy. And once we did it, I was like, oh, there we go. But we do shows with full orchestra and bands. And the biggest challenge is the drums. Drummers don't like to be told to be quiet. And
How can they be?
and they simply must be more quiet. They have to be. And we usually put them in a shell, so you'll see drummers with shells around them, and that helps dampen the sound. But when you're we're an acoustic art form, right? We're not an electric art form. We are an acoustic. We can mic people, but we are an acoustic art form. And so when you get electric instruments with acoustic instruments. You just figuring out the sound balance is really difficult. But when it comes to like arranging the music, so we pay to have the music arranged for like Jéan P's show and for our full orchestra stuff. So Kevin Martinez, so Kevin does our arrangements for Divergent, and then Kevin and then Steve Parsons, who's also really cool. So Kevin and Steve kind of tag team the full orchestra stuff because it's so much work. I mean, they're working for like 9 months to put, because it's, I mean, you're writing for full orchestra arrangements, and they just make it magic. So it's less difficult than one would think. There's a couple of small challenges, but I mean, it's super fun to do, really feasible. When done well, our musicians love to play it. I think that, you know, we have like the show with Fleetwood Mac show. That's with a group called Genes and Classics, which that's their whole thing. They do is they take, you know,
Fleetwood Mac.
Yeah, Fleetwood Mac. You know, we've done Queen with them. We've done ABBA. We've done like music of the '80s, Eagles. You know, all this different stuff. So yeah, it's a lot of. There are some challenges, but more than anything, it's really fun and rewarding at the end of it. So
I love the combination. Go ahead, Christian.
Oh, my bad, G. No, I was just gonna say, like, I know you do the bassoon and everything, but like before we go to break, like, is there an instrument that you think now it's like, hey, I want to pick that up and see what's good with it? Like for me, it's like I really, really, really want to learn how to play the piano, man.
yeah,
Like,
Me too. Yeah,
that is like super bucket list, whatever you want to call it. Like if I could learn
Saxophone.
any instrument right
Saxophone.
now, it would definitely be a piano.
What
yeah.
about you, Jeremy?
Probably violin, because my dad used to play.
Yeah?
So I'd want to learn violin.
Yeah.
Violin is raw too. Like
Yeah.
like
Well, every instrument, I think a lot of instruments get put into buckets of what genre they're a part of. But like a violin, you just call it a fiddle, and now you're in a different art form, right? You know, like trumpet obviously is in the jazz world a lot, but big band and swing, like there's so much. I was just in New Orleans, so I'm just like really.
Oh yeah, that's all you hearing. You
just
hearing that off
jazz
the
is all.
plane.
It's
we
so
gotta
good.
go, man.
Guys, New Orleans is so. If you go to New Orleans, you have to go to Preservation Hall. It's the best experience ever in my life. Not ever.
So you
but
picked the trumpet?
What?
You would pick the trumpet?
I would. My dad played the trumpet. I don't know. I think I'd pick the cello.
Cello is hard.
Because I like the lower instruments. I like the sound of lower. I like the bassoon is a lower instrument. You know, piano is a very good one to learn because you have to learn how to read bass clef and treble clef, because bass clef, treble clef for the hands. So it really makes you much more. It's a great one. I always tell kids, or anyone who's starting music for the first time, if starting with piano, it's such a good foundation. It makes learning music in any other place way easier.
Yeah, I messed up.
Yeah.
So,
Because everybody telling you want to like that, like a lot of string instruments, you want to start young is what everybody kept telling me.
I mean, we do a strings program with Lighthouse Ministries in Southeast Canton. Do you guys know about Lighthouse? Yeah, Lighthouse Ministries is a great organization, and we do a strings training program on Saturday mornings with them. And so we have little ones. We had a little girl playing cello, but she's like this tall, right? So she comes up to my knee basically. So we had to get her a quarter-sized cello, which is basically the size of a violin. It's the cutest. I like opened it up, just started crying. It was so cute. I was like, oh no, it's too cute. It's so little. She would sit on a milk carton to play because it was too. It was so cute.
Man, I'll
so
join
cute.
the class. I look like Adam Sandler in that movie.
Yeah, no, but it's so fun. So we have little ones in that class, and they get it free training every Saturday, and it's a lot of fun. So
Yeah.
Okay.
The thing about piano that always scared me is like I have super shitty pinkies. You know what I'm saying? Like, so I feel like I have no control
it's not about
over that.
Yeah, it's just about. Well, I have very small hands, so piano is like I should be way better at piano than I am for having played since I was 3 years old. I should be really good. I'm not.
Rachel,
I'm
give him
really
some
bad.
lessons.
You don't want me. I can tell you who should give you lessons. You don't want me. I can tell you basic. We can play Twinkle Twinkle, and we can play Heart and Soul, and then we'll move on from there.
Yeah, it's all good. As long as I get the basics, because like I'm really good with like by ear.
Yeah.
You know, a little bit. Like
You probably have really
that.
good relative pitch. You probably do.
I did learn that. Like that's one of the things. Like I did learn I can play a lot of stuff by ear.
That's
Just, like,
awesome.
Once I know the basics, like what notes sounded like on the trumpet, I knew like how to play. Like at home, I was playing Jingle Bells at home before I started.
You got to get back into music, dude. That's classic. Really good relative pitch, and you would have thrived in Suzuki method, which is all by ear. So it's teaching kids by ear as opposed to having them just see something and memorize what it looks like.
Yeah, because like a few of my buddies, like they can play. Like a buddy of mine, his dad played drums, and he did in school a little bit, but he didn't really like care about it too much because he didn't like read music was his thing. But his dad, he would just go up there and listen to his dad, and then his dad had another drum set. So when he got that one, he would just go up there and play
Yeah.
with him, and you couldn't tell. Like you could hear him from outside. You couldn't tell which one was playing.
Yeah.
And it was crazy.
Get Weez in the orchestra 2025.
Yeah, no, I'm not built for that.
Yeah,
I'm
get
not,
Weez.
definitely not built for that.
But I think that's a skill. It's being able to play by ear and improv is a skill a lot of classical musicians don't have. So we've like a lot of classical musicians, if you take away the music, they go, what? Stop, what? No, give it back. Like it's just they're not. So that, I mean, like having that ability to improv and just hear stuff and play is really, I think, really important for like a well-rounded musician to have.
It's like I'll hear people like play the piano and stuff, and I always like it started in high school, like my senior year, like they had one in there in the band room, obviously, and like I would play around with it, but like I didn't know what I was doing, where I should be, you know what I'm saying? Like where do I put my hands type thing. But like if I actually knew that part, you know, just the basic fundamentals of it, and I just heard something, I would just sit there honestly, just, you know, hitting notes until I found that, and then I would just go from
Play
there.
by ear.
Yeah.
I like that. All right, so let's do this. Let's take a break. We're going to do a section called Peace Positive Point. That's where you say a quote and we say a quote. He says a Dr. Seuss quote.
Nice.
That means,
getting real
oh, you know a
consistent.
couple too?
Yeah.
All right, cool. So did you pick yours?
I'm gonna do Samuel L. Jackson again.
Don't do Samuel Jackson again. He did Samuel Jackson last week for his Peace Positive Point. So let's take a break and we'll be right back with our Positive Point. This is Jéan P The MC.
It's Wiz.
Michael Zach, Jeremy in the house, Rachel. Say what you mean. We're right back. Peace. Yo, episode 134 of the Say What You Mean podcast. We have Rachel Hahemeier.
Yeah.
I just want to get your name right because
That's
I messed
good.
up Beth's last name.
Hey.
So that's why I've been asking everybody, how do you say your last name right? Because I don't want to get it wrong. So, how y'all feeling?
I'm good.
Good.
I'm hungry.
Excited to get out in the sunshine, man.
It felt good
I know.
outside.
It's so nice out.
I just want to lay in the grass.
Just
Like,
lay
it's
outside,
here.
yeah.
It's here. Good
been
weather's
so
here.
tired.
I wonder if we're gonna get the
Snow.
roof. I wonder if we're gonna get the rooftop later, sometime soon, man.
I hope so.
I hope.
Rooftop
I
podcast.
hope we get back
We
on
can
the
find a way to
rooftop hangs.
record a podcast on the
That's what I was
roof.
saying. I was like, let's move this shindig outside. Let's go.
It would be nice to some
Record on
outside
the roof.
episodes.
That'd be sick.
Tim, if you hear us, man, we want to do some
Tim.
episodes outside. So y'all know what time it is, man. It's Peace Positive Point.
Yes, sir.
Who wants to go first?
You go first. You always telling everybody else to go
Well,
first. You go first.
I mean, I just want to get y'all stuff out first. So I'll go first today because this episode is about music. And my positive point is from Bob Marley. One thing about music, when it hits you, you feel no pain. That's how I felt with the symphony show. That's how I feel every day when I listen to music. When I'm down, play some music. You know, when I need a good pick me up, even when I'm tired, music gets me awake again. So music has such an impact, more than just, you know, just simply listening, but it's very therapeutic. So that's my positive point, man. One
Love
thing
that.
about music, when it hits you, you feel no pain. The great Bob Marley.
Beautiful.
That's so good.
Michael Zach.
You ready?
Yeah, let's hear it.
It's a longer one today.
Okay.
But it's good.
Did you Dr. Seuss every week?
I'm on, what, how many weeks now? It's pretty consistent. At
I
least
love that.
It's not Pulp Fiction, is it?
No.
Dr. Seuss was like, I'm a just wreck everyone's lives through children's books, and he just so many. Sorry, I have so much to say. Like Dr. Seuss, he like so many of his books are like really intense commentaries on like social stuff that was happening
Facts.
during
They're
that
really
time,
deep.
and it's done in the form of children's books, and so many conservative white people would hate to know what his books are actually about, and all of his books would be banned if Republicans had their way.
Don't tell them.
Right, don't tell them that, Rachel.
Sorry,
I'm
no,
just playing.
they're just about who's in Whoville. That's all it is.
That's all it's about.
That's all it
It's just
is.
about the ham being different
Would you
color.
find-
It's just a different color ham. That's all it
That's
is.
it.
Don't tell them that.
Don't tell them the color ham. What the green ham really means.
There is no Warren
The
Bossing.
Lorax is just really uptight. That's all.
Right? What you got, Zach?
Sorry.
All right, here we go. Be kind to the wishers who haven't got wishes. Be kind to the fishers who haven't got fishes. Be kind to beginners who haven't got ends. Be kind to strangers who haven't got friends. Be kind to walkers who haven't a shoe. Be kind to the talkers who haven't a clue. Be kind to the outsiders and insiders too. Be kind to the kind kept confined in the zoo. Be kind in your mind in all that you do, and you'll find that mankind can be kind to you too.
Man, next time
There's
read
like
a
four
book.
phrases to that.
What's that mean to you, Zach?
Be kind, bro. That's all it means. Be kind.
Don't assume.
Next time read the book, but that was a dope quote. I love that these Dr. Seuss quotes have all these deep meanings. He said, "What book did he say that?"
That one, God, that one's. I knew that one. I don't remember
Yeah, I
what it's
heard Rachel
from.
saying that.
I was like, oh yeah.
She was like, "Yeah."
I don't remember what book it's from either, but
It's banned now.
Because kindness is social emotional learning. We can't have
Yeah,
it.
we can't learn about kindness, bro.
Nah, I don't give a damn. Be kind.
It's probably banned in Florida. They ban everything in Florida.
Jesus Christ, they are.
Everything.
And Florida from Florida.
Man, they banned the right.
Florida's gonna just disappear.
They gonna just ban the state. Everything getting banned in
Man,
Florida.
that state is
Why don't we
crazy.
take Bikini Bottom?
Jeremy, what's your positive point? Good point, Zach.
Thank you.
Mine's pretty short and simple. It's the beginning is the most important part of the work.
What's that mean to you?
I mean, the beginning is really where it all starts from whatever you're trying to do, whether it's cooking a meal, chasing your dreams. The hardest part, but the most important, is just starting it.
That's real. I like that, man. Krishan, no Pulp Fiction quotes.
I didn't even. You said
No,
it like I
'cause
just
you
do it
wouldn't
all
No
the
Pulp
time.
Fiction quotes.
Last week he said the prayer that Samuel Jackson said before he killed that man, and I didn't know it was. I did.
I'm literally halfway through it, and nobody's
He said
saying
the
it.
whole thing, and then he said one part, and I was like, I watched that last week.
Wait a second.
Yeah.
Nah,
That's-
no Pulp Fiction. A lot
It's
shorter
the
this
Die
time
Hard
too.
quote.
Kill Bill. Yeah, he got Kill Bill this week.
There's a lot of Tarantino's to go through.
Right.
I did just finish reading that script.
You
though.
did?
Yeah.
What's your point today?
Where words fail, music speaks. And for me, it's just it was cool having you here because every now and again, I was just talking to Willis. I was over there, me and him were talking about a project we were
Shout
doing.
out Willis.
Willis Gordon, and he was talking about how the categorization of music is will be the death of it, and how if you like music, you can't say say you hate this particular kind because music
Facts.
is literally all it all comes from one thing. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You just change the instruments, you change the tempo, but it's all coming
That's
from the
real. I
same from
like
the root. So for me, it's funny because when I every now and again I will catch myself listening. Like when you brought up Vivaldi, I was like, hey, I actually like that guy. Because Storm is one of my favorite songs, and there's a lot of emotion in the orchestra and symphonies and stuff like that. And yeah, I mean you can listen to songs pop stuff and hip hop stuff and everything, and you could feel stuff. I'm not saying you don't feel anything, but it's it's something about hearing those instruments and knowing that it wasn't a machine that made that sound. And that this is just people who like you said, this is their livelihood. This is what they do. This is how they make their money. This is how they feed themselves. And you can hear that in a lot of that kind, that genre. So I listen to that all the time. I write to a lot of it because I might not even know anything about it, but it's one thing I love about the YouTube algorithm on Premium. You listen to one song, it's just going to link you to thousands of the same thing.
Yeah.
And I don't know all the artists. I don't know all the songs. Hell, I can't pronounce a good bit of them. But I will be able to every now and again catch a song that catches the vibe for what I'm trying to write. And I just love that about that particular genre. So
That's what's up. We like that positive point.
I know.
Y'all want to make another
That's
point
so
about music, since we're talking about music and all these different diversions. Beyonce has the current #1 song in
In the country. Hell yeah.
For
I was
Texas Hold'em.
so excited about that.
I love that, man. That's beautiful, man. Beyonce just excels at everything. So all this inclusion of different genres, to see Beyonce do country,
She ain't calling you, bro.
please call me Beyonce.
But but doing that, you got to shine light on Darius Rucker too. You know what I'm saying?
Darius Rucker.
Yeah, you got to shine light on
There's
her.
been a lot. Well,
Darius Rucker's gas.
I'm thinking about bluegrass music and country music. Bluegrass music is African music, and I don't think a lot of people realize
Thank
that.
you, Rachel. Say it again. Thank you.
Because the banjo is a African instrument from
Thank you.
Africa, and everyone should look up Rihanna Giddens and the Carolina Chocolate Drops. They are, I think, Rihanna Gibbons. Shoot, am I saying her last name wrong? I'm doing a Jéan P. I'm sorry. But she plays the banjo on Beyonce's song. So the person playing the banjo is she's a black woman. She's been in the bluegrass space for a really long time, and she's done a lot of education for people about like the history of bluegrass. And I think it came from African slaves in the South and Scottish settlers in the Appalachian Mountains meeting up in what is like the rural Appalachian Mountains area and blending music forms, and bluegrass was born.
So
very reductive way of explaining the history of it.
No, but all these stations not playing that song, it doesn't make any sense because it's country.
Yeah,
like
well,
people
it's just
are
racism.
Yes, 100%, which is sad, but
It's
no.
so sad.
I remember the day my dad got me hip to that fact about country music, and I was just like, because I was like, why are you listening to this? Like, what is this about? This? Like, why do you? And then he gave me that whole thing, and I'm like,
same with rock music.
Well, rock music.
Same, and that's
Most
what
music.
I'm saying. You know,
Right. For real.
Yeah, but that was a lot of what Willis was talking about.
Yeah.
Was like, you have all of these genres that really came from one thing, like, and so that's like, if you can respect one form of music, you can
gotta be able
respect
to
all
Respect
of
them
it.
all.
Well, we were talking about this when Jéan P was on our Orchestrating Change podcast, that hip hop was born out of a lack of access to instruments and
Exactly.
music,
Yep.
which is, I think, a lot. And when I talk about like the elitist nature of the symphony and the lack of music education, and you see really good music programs in places that have higher property taxes and where they can fund the music, in a way of funding schools that is unconstitutional, but no one has found a better way to do it. So we're still stuck with an unconstitutional way of funding schools.
That's America for you.
It's America for you. And so part of the reason that hip hop exists is because people were racist and wanted to keep music really, I think it shows to the, I don't know if you want me to do my quote yet, but like this goes into it. So Jean Baptiste, who just had a film come out, American Symphony, he's a black man who does a lot of different work with orchestras and not with orchestras, but he in his film said, what we love about music is not that it sounds good, but what we love about music is that it sounds inevitable.
What's that mean to you?
Well, it's like humans are going to make music happen regardless. Like if you take it away from them, hip hop exists, I think that's, the human nature is to create. The United Nations, Article 27 of the United Nations policies on human rights is that everyone should have access to the creation and enjoyment of the arts in their community. And so it's a human right to be able to be a part of creation, to be creative and in art, visual art, dance, whatever. The earliest forms of human expression are pictures on caves. You find bone flutes that are millions of years old. You find drums, drums have existed, drum circles, this dance, this need to just move and express yourself. It's just human nature and it's inevitable. And so music in whatever form it is just going to keep being, because music is not just because it's good, it's because it's inevitable.
I love that. Like with hip hop, like how I said on the podcast, it started with lack of. You had a turntable. Okay, we're going to use this and make something happen. And now you have a genre of music that's 50 years old.
Yeah.
Take that, racist.
Right.
Yeah, literally. I just think I live and I work in a world that is rooted in systemic racism. And it's a hard place to sit in of how do you acknowledge and respect the past and what good music did come out of that.
Yes.
But then also acknowledge how that has kept boundaries up and barriers up, and how the symphony hall, the people who are in our audience do not look like our community. The people on stage do not look like our community. And how do we fix that? And there's a lot of organizations that are working really hard to do that. But it's because it's like, I love this art form, but we kind of suck. And it's like, how do we get better? And that's, our podcast, Orchestrating Change, is all about that, trying to figure out, what do we do? How do we make this better? But there's people like Jean Baptiste who he had a documentary, American Symphony, and he said that quote, and I went, wow, gosh, I'm going to use that now for forever. Music is inevitable. That's what it is.
I like that, man. Any last shout outs, any comments?
Just the usual. Shot the pod, the guys. Thank you for stopping and hanging out with us
this
for a
was so
while.
fun.
Thank you for what you're doing with your podcast and
Yeah.
trying to bring awareness to everybody on what you're trying to do. Shouts to my family and my girl who's carrying my kid and doing that very successfully, and she's pushing
man.
through it. And sometimes she wants to knock me out, and I know it, but she holds off. But no, she's doing great, and I appreciate her.
Great.
That's what's up. Zach, got any shout outs?
Man, shout out the gang. Happy to be back. Thank you, Rachel, for stopping in, showing out. I learned a lot today, actually.
This is so
Yeah, it's a
fun.
very informative episode.
Yeah, so that was great. So thank you so much.
Yeah.
Jeremy?
I just want to shout out you guys, Rachel, for coming on. Shout out my best friend Sean. Today's his birthday. So
Happy birthday.
Happy birthday,
great.
dope.
Rachel, any shout outs, anything you like to share before we get off the air?
Yeah, no, just thank you all for having me. This was super fun. I think just having just fun conversations and talking. I feel like people don't talk enough about things that matter.
Right.
So this is really, really fun. Check out the Canton Symphony. We got a lot of stuff going on. If you don't like one thing we do, I bet you like something else. And check out our podcast, Orchestrating Change. I think shout out Jéan P. Check out his music because it's so fun.
Thank you.
I was listening to it in the car all the time in the past. It's just been kind of on my repeat for a while.
Thank
So
you.
it's been fun.
You hear that hat ripping, man?
Shut up.
So yeah, just thank you. This was super fun. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, shout out to the podcast. Shout out to the listeners. Rachel, thank you for being on the show. The Canton Symphony Orchestra, thank you very much for the opportunity. It's been a great week. Matt Fantone. It's just really shout out to my city, man, for being so supportive, being so excited about the Canton Symphony and being introduced to the Canton Symphony Orchestra. Pat, Joe, Jordan, all the hands that were involved in making this week great for me. I really, really, really appreciate you guys. My birthday is Wednesday. I'll be 34 years old.
Happy birthday.
So, I'm all right. I look good for being a little older, you know? So, happy early birthday to all the Pisces out there. And, I appreciate you guys, man. It's going to be a good day. So, I think we're about done here. Let's go enjoy this Sunday, man. Jéan P The MC.
Yes, we.
Jeremy in the house. Michael, Zach, Rachel.
Hi.
Yes,
Bye.
we out of here, man. We out of here. Say what you mean. We'll see y'all next week. Peace.
Say what you mean what you say. I'm from the 330, where them boys don't play. Say what you mean.